Well, hello, hello. This is Jeff White with Versatile Fighting Arts and Life and Living Now, which I guess is really more appropriately for what this was for. So, I wanted to make this video as the companion video to the writing that I sent out the other day on the water element and kidney internal organs for the five element Qigong that we do. And so we're kind of going through each of these and taking the Qigong style is called five element style. And it also corresponds with internal organs that in Chinese Qigong theory they have assigned to a meridian system. And so you have lungs and kidney and liver and heart and spleen. And that corresponds to metal, kidneys or water, livers, wood, hearts, fire, and stomach and spleen are earth elements. And the way they view this is that it's not just an organ, it's a heart, it's part of an entire system. The lungs are everything that's gathering in. Now, in traditional Chinese medicine, TCM and Qigong, they will assign a lot of like seasons and emotions and all kinds of things to these different elements into organs. And I'm a little bit more pragmatic in my approach to it. There is a definite benefit. And I do believe we don't just think about the lungs, it's everything the lungs impact. We don't just think about the kidneys, but everything that the kidney impacts. And the kidneys also have, the kidneys in the back, and you have the adrenal glands that are right on top of it. And so a lot of the experiential benefits that we talk about with qigong that we contribute to the kidneys can actually also be contributed to the adrenal glands. So, but the purpose of this is to kind of give you some more information, let you know when we're talking in class about kidney meridians and bladder meridians and liver meridians, and it kind of gives you some context that you can play with this. You don't have to buy into the entire traditional Chinese medicine theory in order for any of this to benefit. I will leave it up to you to how deep you wish to go with it. I find there's a tremendous amount of benefit as I'm learning to become aware of my energy and then harness and direct that energy. Later, we'll take that into deeper, but you can do that without subscribing to the rest of the philosophy. Uh, I will in my meditation times, I will, take time to focus on the different internal organs, sending good vibes, good energy into them, really thinking warmly, putting my attention there. And in doing so, then we begin to almost bask that in a good positive energy. If I'm sending positive energies in, there are times when I may feel like I can't quite connect or something seems off, and I'll go into a little bit more, and maybe I'll find a health issue. Maybe I'll find an emotion that I need to work with, because sometimes we suppress and regress different emotions, and they get held in various parts of the body. Massage therapy, deals with this a lot. And sometimes they'll have going through, massaging somebody, and they'll start crying on a table. Depends on how they respond. I've had qigong sessions where all of a sudden I will feel this sense of irritability just rise up in me. And when I sit with it for a little bit, kind of in my meditations, I realize, okay, there was some um, energy there, some thoughts and experience I didn't quite process and I pushed away, and now it's opened back up. And so this is where focusing on those areas works very well. Also, tracing mentally, connecting with and leading energy through the meridians allows you to become more in harmony with your own energetic system. Your energy is going to flow. It will flow more clearly and more easily the more attention when we clear it and have attentions paid on it. Sometimes energy can get stuck, it can slow down, like blood going through the arteries. If you have plaque that builds up, it may have an impact on that. So we want to clear those meridian lines. So let's get into talking about the water element and the kidney element. In traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, And Qigong philosophy, the water element is considered the foundation of life. It is the most yin of the yin and yang of the five elements, the most inward. It represents, it's representing potential. It represents depth, wisdom, the preservation of vitality. Now, unlike the dynamic, expanding nature of, say, fire or wood, water is about storage. It's about introspection, and it's the root of our internal energy. The kidney energy itself is associated with development, with growth, reproduction. Things like urinary function maintains a leading role in balancing the fluids of the body itself. So we just kind of think about where the kidneys are located. The water is 78%, or the body's 78% water or something along those, and the kidney is filtering all of this through. So, um, as we strengthen and as we tonify the kidney energy, one's life vitality, it's increased and it's and strengthened. The water element is also associated with your gene, with the essence of the individual. And this includes the hormones, the DNA, the genetics. As I mentioned, the adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys are affected by kidney energy. The water element is supported by the kidney and bladder meridians, and they kind of run the torso of the body. They actually will run from the toes up through the torso. Bladder actually begins at the head, runs all the way to the feet. It's the longest of the body. So as we are bending forward, leaning back, we are working with and strengthening um, this the bladder meridians and the kidney meridians as we kind of straighten them out. So in um, strengthen the water element. It's also an exercise in strengthening the fundamental vitality of one's being, and it helps to slow the loss of that vitality. So in Qigong, kidney energy is often described as the root power of life. It's steady, it's deep, it's slow moving. Think about a deep, deep river. The quiet force that supports growth, that supports stamina, long-term resilience, my favorite subject right now. Rather than imagining it only as the physical kidneys, it's helpful, as we always kind of say, to feel this as a system of storage, a system of refinement and endurance that keeps your body's engine strong over time. All right, from this mindset, kidney energy is less about the quick burst and more about maintaining a deep, deep balance. When your attention and breath settle, you may notice a subtle sense of the lower back and lower abdomen as kind of an inner reservoir that's perfect. The kidney area where you collect yourself, then let that collected calm nourish the rest. All right. In Qigong, water energy is nurtured by fluid and effortless movement that mirrors water's adaptivity. So when we move, a lot of times with this kidney energy, everything flows, nothing stops. That's how we do Qigong. All right. And so we're using the water element, that water energy in our Qigong. Everything's always flowing and everything is always fluid. Everything is effortless. Everything adapts. It's also nurtured by deep interoception, listening, and stillness, which enabled us to connect with our deep inner wisdom. So part of that kidney energy. So you want to pay attention to those things. But understand all this supports. It doesn't take the place of doing the work. You still want to sit in meditation, but this helps support those activities. All right. Um, so from the mindset, the kidney energy is less about quick bursts, as we talked about, more about a deep balance. When your attention and breaths settle, you just want to feel that energy. Now, sleep is an important quality for the water element balance. It's an important requirement for the water element to be balanced because it supports restoration of your gene, of your genetics, the DNA and the hormones of the human. It helps to reduce stress and allows the body to conserve energy. All qualities along with water's winter energy. However, in Qigong theory, sleep is restorative state, and as such, it complements but does not replace the intentional movement, the intentional breath and meditation practices designed to cultivate the water energy. The water element kidney is they're supported by two meridians. and the kidney and the bladder meridian. The kidney meridian stops at the bottom of the little toe, and then it runs along the sole of the foot. The kidney one is right. Yeah, if this were my foot and these are my toes, and this is the sole of my foot, there's kidney one. You can actually feel it. Um, so it runs up the sole of the foot, it goes up the inside of the ankle, and it runs through the groin area. You can check the diagrams that I sent out on the written article. And then it kind of goes up from the groin area, cuts down, and comes right up a little just to the outside of the body where the sternum and kind of the nipple, it kind of runs up through here with kidney 27 being right about here. So as we did with the lung elements, we can begin to enter into a very deep, relaxed state. And then we use our minds to connect with and to enhance that kidney meridian energy by bringing our awareness and our focus to the small toes. And then lead that energy across the sole of the foot, lead it up the ankle, up the interior of the leg, further up along the groin to up along the center of the torso, and then kind of run it up the chest to the clavicle. Do not try and force this energy. I will always tell you this. Or don't try too hard to imagine it at first, as that creates tension. I had a friend of mine, we are talking about this in meditation, and he made a comment that he really tries really hard to focus on his mind. And I go, well, how's that going? And he goes, not really well. And it's because you're creating tension. Relax the mind, use your focus and intent. Now this is interesting because at least I know with myself, I seem to have somehow paired intent with tension, that it required force. And the truth is you need to separate that. You will have a greater use of your intention and a purer use of your intention when you don't have anger or forcefulness or tension aligned with it. Okay. Um, but and there are times when, as we're talking about tracing, I will just trace that up. I may need to stop and breathe again. I, I like to make all these tracings of meridians done in one breath. So I do one breath up, and then I let it settle. Go to the next one. I breathe in, let it settle. With kidney and meridian, they're pretty long. You may want to divide that up perfectly fine. Okay. But the whole idea is you're not forcing. You're not trying too hard to imagine it, because that stress is antithetical with what we're trying to work with. Now, the bladder meridian is often described as the long shoreline that runs along the back of the body, and it's carrying energy through the pathways that are associated with movement, with storage, and transformation of fluids. Remember, there's still all of this is the kidney energy. In Qigong terms, then the bladder meridian helps distribute and manage the water aspect of the system, especially through the back line and the lower back regions. So commonly described benefits of working with bladder meridian is greater clarity and greater circulation. Feelings of reduced tightness and increased smoothness along the spine are often reported. Additionally, improved relaxation of the lower back and lumbar areas, as well as posture support. When the bladder line is supported, many people feel their gait, their turning, their stepping, their rising abilities become a little bit smoother. When considering this meridian channel, imagine the bladder line as a steady, unblocked flow of energy that moves up and down your back with ease. So it helps to create a calmer nervous system and the whole tone for your system. That slow back body attention can make the whole system feel less on edge. And your mindset cue, imagine the back of your body as a clear stream of energy, steady, unblocked, able to move with ease. So as you can see, um, let me get back to my place. So as you can see from the diagram that I sent out, then we trace the bladder meridian. It starts just to the inside of the eye. It travels back over the head where it descends down the neck. And then it kind of splits into two channels on each side of the back. So you actually would have a total of 4 channels. Now, one may simply imagine both of those channels down the back as just as one, and that would be fine. The meridian then runs down the back, runs into the glutes, comes down the back of the legs, as it passes the Achilles tendon, then it turns and heads to the little toe on the outside. And as this is the longest meridian line, use your mind and breath to lead that energy and never push it. So that's kind of an idea for it. So I just wanted to kind of give you an idea about where those meridian lines run. I do suggest, as it's obviously difficult to show you on here where they run, refer back to um, the email that I sent, the article that I sent, or you can also just Google any acupuncture chart and we'll tell you where those meridians are. So thank you. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next time.